I saw this idea a couple days ago and I thought it was really interesting. And I saw it in the book The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And I'm still reading it, it's quite interesting. But early on in the book, he basically says that there's a difference between thinking and knowing. And his whole kind of argument throughout the book, at least so far, has been that it doesn't matter so much your natural abilities, your health, things like that. What really matters and makes the biggest difference is how you're applying it. So are you thinking positively? How are you applying your brain power? Are you thinking or are you just knowing? And that's what I wanted to talk about. He basically says there's a difference between thinking and knowledge. And I thought that was really interesting because oftentimes we, especially in school, are told to memorize this, memorize that fact, memorize that formula. Just do it, know how to do it. You don't actually need to understand it. But because of that, and I mean, I said that at the end, you don't need to understand it. You do need to understand it. And that's the thing that we aren't really always taught, which is sometimes in school, we aren't really taught the understanding. And I know that I've had that experience a couple times. We're only just taught the thing. Memorize this formula, but who knows how it works? Which, that's knowledge. And I think it was Bacon, big old British philosopher, but I think it was Bacon who said it, but knowledge is power. David Schwartz just brings it up in his book, that's why I bring it up. Knowledge is power, but what David Schwartz is saying is knowledge isn't power, it's potential power. And I think that's a really interesting difference to think about. Knowledge is potential power. We need to actually think and apply it. And I think this is kind of the actionable thing of this video. I think the best way to start to apply things and start to think more is to implement some quiet time throughout the day. So, and I'm not saying just like meditation, even though that's very good, because meditation, you're still trying to focus on your breath. Although I think that meditation definitely helps a lot, I think that maybe in conjunction with meditation, what's really interesting is to have a period of time where you let your mind be open to just thoughts, which actually, now that I think about it, is pretty similar to meditation. But what I'm trying to say is you meditate, let's say in the morning or at night, and you're just focusing on your breath. And also I know there's other types of meditation. I'm not super aware of all of them. And then later on in the day, or maybe earlier in the day, depending on when you're doing your meditation, whatever, then you go out for a big walk, let's say, and you just open your mind to thoughts. You don't listen to an audiobook, you don't listen to music, you completely silent, you're just kind of aware of your surroundings, and you open your mind to thoughts. Maybe you even pick something to think about. I want to think about, one of the topics that interests me recently was the evolution of the brain. I want to think about the evolution of the brain. This is the only thing I'm going to think about. That being said, you can't just think without learning first. You do need the foundation of some knowledge, and whether that's you read books or you listen to podcasts or some sort of thing like that. But I think that I definitely fall into this trap sometimes. It's easy to be consuming so much that you stop producing. And the really important thing is that you, I believe at least, that you leave some time for yourself to produce, ideally every day, in conjunction with a bit of consumption of knowledge. Right? We build up our knowledge base, and then what's knowledge if you don't use it? So then you work on practicing the skill of applying knowledge, not just knowing knowledge.